Thank you all for coming on this cold night. You're brave for coming. Not many. Usually we have many more people, but you wanted to hear about Krishna. Very good. So we're going to talk about the Bhagavad-Gita. Actually, we had some very nice people to sponsor Gitas. So if any of you don't have a Gita, who here does not have a Bhagavad-Gita? Okay. So on your way out, you can take a Bhagavad-Gita. And if you have a friend that might want to have a Bhagavad-Gita for Christmas, you can take one and give it to them for Christmas. Nice Christmas present, right? So they're here for taking. So Bhagavad-Gita means a song. Gita means song. It's amazing that the Bhagavad-Gita is such a great text of wisdom. Krishna sings it. It's a song. Such deep wisdom, studied in universities all around the world, translated in practically all the languages of the world. But it's a song. This is God. When He gives wisdom, He sings it. So it's the song of God. And what's also kind of ironic is the Bhagavad Gita was spoken on a battlefield. And what's also ironic, it was spoken to bring peace. Because at the time that Krishna spoke the Bhagavad Gita, there were some very evil people on the planet who actually tried to kill great devotees of Krishna, the Pandavas. One of them was Arjuna. So Krishna spoke the Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. And this person named Duryodhana, he was trying to kill all the Pandavas, and he wanted to be the king. The war was basically between Duryodhana and Yudhisthira, who was the older brother of Arjuna. So Arjuna, he's a Kshatriya. He's a powerful warrior, practically one of the most powerful warriors on the planet. And he was ready to fight, to bring justice, good against evil. So much of this goes on in this world, good against evil. So he was ready to fight for the good cause of bringing Yudhisthira to be the king. But he was confused because some of the persons that he was to fight were very dear to him. His grandfather, Bhishma, who practically brought him up since the time he was a child. So much love for him. And his teacher, Dronacharya. He taught him how to be a great archer, how to be the great archer that he was. Such great love for these two personalities. But they were on the other side. They were on the side of Duryodhana. One might ask, well, why? Duryodhana is such an evil person. Because they had they were Dhritarashtra, who was the father of Duryodhana, and the uncle of the Pandavas. They were being maintained. Bhishma and Dronacharya, they're being maintained by Duryodhana and Dhritarashtra and like that. So they couldn't turn away at a time of battle, so they felt it was their duty to fight. So the first thing that Krishna explains in the Bhagavad-Gita, which you don't very often hear, very seldom does anyone hear this, that we're not the body. He said, you're lamenting for the body, killing the body of Bhishma and Duryodhana or Dronacharya. But no one dies. No one dies. It's a nice thing to know. A lot of people are afraid of death. But nothing to be afraid of, because we don't die. Now, if we're thinking that we're the body, then, yeah, it can be very fearful. But, yeah, we're not this material body. The body is going to die, the soul is going to continue. And we're going to continue on according to our karma. Like the Bhagavad-Gita teaches about 5 things. Time. We don't hear much about time either. What is time? Can anybody say, what is time? It's a destructive force. Right now, all of these bodies, my body, your bodies, they're all dying. Eventually, they're going to be either burnt or in the grave, or each moment, the body is getting closer to death. Of course, we, the soul, we don't get closer, but the body. This is the nature of time. Everything, this building here, this planet, everything material comes to a level of destruction. That's time. That's the influence of time. Everything material. But the soul doesn't die. And time is also there in the spiritual world. But the destructive nature of time is not there. Time is there, but there's no destructive nature, which is interesting. So time is very powerful. And Krishna says in the Bhagavad-Gita, Kalosmi, time I am, the destroyer of the worlds. This is the power of time. It's one of the energies of Krishna. So the Bhagavad-Gita teaches about time, about karma. A lot of people have misunderstandings about karma. There's 3 different aspects of karma. There's karma, there's vikarma, and there's akarma. So karma simply means activity. Now mostly people think, oh, karma, they can put that together with bad karma. But there's also good karma. So bad karma is what we call vikarma. Vikarma means you do an activity where you get a negative result. Bad karma, negative result. And good karma means you get a positive result. So an intelligent person is not interested in good karma or bad karma. But an intelligent person is interested in akarma. Means an activity where you don't get a good result or a bad result, but you get a pure result. That's the goal. That's the goal. So many people in this world, they're receiving bad karma. It's like sometimes you see people that are paraplegic. They can't function properly, or people that are blind. I have an aunt, she's blind, and she doesn't believe in God because, well, there's a God, why am I born blind? But we have to see the whole picture. Everybody gets a certain result due to past activities. For instance, let's say you're on the beach there, Pacific Beach, and some person is running, and there's 4 policemen running after him, and they catch him. And this person's trying to get away, and the police are withholding him. And some people might think, hey, what are you mistreating? Police brutality. What are you mistreating him like that? But they don't see the whole picture. This person that's running from the police 15 minutes earlier had killed 3 people. So people are just seeing the small picture. So if you see the whole picture, wherever we see someone getting some bad karma, they're receiving it due to past activities. Yeah. And you see people with good karma, people that are born into rich families, the Ford family or the Rockefeller family. is born rich. I have a friend, his name is Alfred Ford. He's a devotee, actually. He's a disciple of Srila Prabhupada. His name is Ambarish Maharaj. Or Ambarish. Prabhupada used to call him Ambarish Maharaj. It's Ambarish Das. So when he was growing up, he thought everybody was rich because he grew up in a rich neighborhood. When he was a child, he just thought everybody in the world was rich, like his neighbors and himself. Of course, then as he grew up, he found that actually not many people are rich. But he was, born in that situation due to some good karma. So if we do good activities, we have to come back to this world and receive the good karma. So someone who's intelligent doesn't do good activities just to get some good result, because you have to come back. You have to take birth again to get the good result. But anybody that has some wisdom doesn't want to come back here because there's problems in this world. Major problems in this world. The 4 major problems in this world is birth, death, old age, and disease. These are the major problems in this world that nobody wants. Nobody wants these things. It's like we have this COVID-19. People are very cautious, when they get this disease. So many diseases, cancer, and so many diseases. Old age. Nobody wants to get old. Just like now I'm entering that period, old age. Prabhupada, our founder Acharya of this movement, he used to say that when I was a young man, I was an athlete. I was strong. He said he used to play soccer. But he said he was the goalie because he didn't want to run back and forth. So when I was young, I was healthy and strong. But now I'm an old man. And he lifted up his arm and he started flapping skin back and forth. Now, flat tire. So, we don't want to get old. Gray hair, body gets wrinkled. Now they have this, you could take shots and get rid of the wrinkles or something. So people are trying to avoid this. So many ways. People spend thousands of dollars to keep looking young. So old age, disease, birth also, it's not very comfortable. Sometimes it's so painful, it's called stillbirth, right? They're born dead because it's such an intense thing to come out of this little opening there. They die. So birth, death, old age, disease, these are the problems in this world. So the Bhagavad-Gita teaches how to overcome these problems. If we understand our true nature as spirit souls, as part of the Supreme Soul, and engage in service to that Supreme Person, we get purified. And one can become so pure that one can go back to the spiritual world. The soul can go back to the spiritual world. Just like naturally a magnet is attracted to iron, naturally. But sometimes some rust gets on the iron, and then the magnet is not attracted anymore because of the rust that's covering the iron. So everyone is naturally attracted to this Supreme Being, Krishna. But because there's some rust, some material covering, material desires are covering the soul, therefore the attraction is not there. But by hearing Bhagavad-Gita By chanting this mantra that we were just chanting, the soul gets purified. And this rust, it's called subtle rust. You can't see it, but it's there. And we can't see the soul either. Interesting. But we know it exists. And one may say, well, how do we know it exists? We can't see it. Well, we have to accept authority. Just like there's diseases that we don't know anything about. Anybody in here a doctor? Okay, so there's a lot of diseases in the world that we don't know anything about. It's like there's a disease called eosinophilic esophagitis. You ever heard of that one? So yeah, I've never even heard of it. But there's doctors that know so much about this disease. I know because I have that disease. It's not a serious thing, but so there's things that we don't know anything about, but there's authorities that know so much about things that we have that we don't know anything about. So Krishna, the speaker of the Bhagavad-Gita, he knows about the soul. And in the Bhagavad-Gita, he tells us about the soul. You could say he's like a transcendental doctor, and he's trying to heal us of material contamination, material desires. It's a disease. Material desires is a disease. It's not natural for us to have this because we're spiritual beings. So in the Bhagavad-Gita, Krishna says, Aschayavad pashiti kashtena, Aschayavad taiva chanya, Aschayavad chanya runopi, that the soul is very difficult to understand. Some look on the soul as amazing. Some describe the soul as amazing. And some hear the soul as amazing. And some, after hearing about him, can't understand the soul at all. It's not easy to understand the soul. So Krishna explains that the nature of the soul is eternality, knowledge, and bliss. This is our nature. We're eternal beings. The soul is eternal. And we have knowledge, but now it's covered by ignorance. And there's happiness. Everybody wants these things. Just like when we're growing up, we want knowledge, we want happiness. We want to be eternal. All these things are there in the soul. Srila Prabhupada, our teacher, he said the soul is embarrassed to be in the material body. It's an embarrassing thing to be in the material body. Because we're eternal, but we're stuck in these bodies that are temporary. We have knowledge, but we have so much ignorance, so much illusion. And we all want happiness, but there's so much suffering in the material world. So much suffering. And therefore, does anybody know what the main disease is in the world right now? Yes, stress. From stress or anxiety, so many other diseases come. Cancer and heart disease. And, so many other diseases come from this stress. So Krishna has given us a solution to the problems of this world. So the Bhagavad Gita teaches about time, about karma. So akarma, I mentioned about vikarma. Vikarma is by which we get a negative reaction. Karma just means activity. It's neutral. See, this is the liberality of Krishna. If you're just a good person, you're not religious at all, and also you don't do anything bad. You don't do anything negative. You're just a good person. Some of you might have met people like that. Just good people. Not religious. Yeah. Don't do anything, wrong, bad. Krishna says you can be elevated to the heavenly planets. Urdhvam gachanti sattvasta, mudita rajasa, jaganya gurivritasa, adhoga santi tamasa. Those in the mode of goodness, they go up to the higher planetary systems. Those in the mode of ignorance, they go down to the lower planetary systems. And those in the mode of passion, they stay in this middle planetary system. So if someone is just a very good person, you can go to the heavenly planets. This is the liberality of Krishna. But you can't go beyond heaven. See, the goal is to go beyond heaven. That's the spiritual world. Heaven is still in the material world. People still die there. There's a lot less anxiety there, a lot less problems there. But still, it's not the perfection. So, and then akarma means pure activities. If we do pure activities, then that's our key back to the spiritual world. So time, karma, nature. This is the third one. The Bhagavad-Gita explains about material and spiritual natures. It's like this harmonium. It looks material, right? It looks material. But if we use it in the service of that Supreme Being, Krishna, it's not material anymore. It's spiritual. Or this body, if I use this body in the service of Krishna, it's not material anymore. I'll give you an example. Just like, let's say you have a knife. And a doctor takes that knife and he does an operation, surgery on somebody. It's being utilized for a good purpose. But that same knife in the hands of a murderer, it's a problem, right? So the knife is neutral. The knife is neutral. It's who's holding the knife. Who's holding the knife? That's what's important. The consciousness behind the person. Yeah. So, therefore, the goal is to purify the consciousness so that we utilize things properly, not improperly. And then we grow. That's how we grow spiritually. So there's material nature, it can be transformed into spiritual nature. So many things can be utilized in the service of Krishna, just like we have cars and we have this building here. I don't know what this building was before. Oh, I heard it was an army barracks. That's what it was built for, an army barracks. And now it's a beautiful temple. So it's being utilized in a better way now. So time, material nature, spiritual nature, karma, and then the soul, and Krishna. So these are the 5 things that are taught in the Bhagavad-Gita. So much more also. The first time I read it in 7 days. I couldn't put it down. It's like amazing. It's like so much information in the Bhagavad-Gita. I was astounded because it's absolute knowledge. See, there's relative knowledge and there's absolute knowledge. Or there's relative truth and there's absolute truth. Just like us here in San Diego, we think it's cold outside, right? Some people think it's a little cold. I was in Siberia, Russia. 20 degrees outside, and this guy's walking around with a t-shirt on. He would think this is warm. Like, why are we wearing sweaters? So there's absolute truth, there's relative truth. Right? So Krishna is speaking the absolute truth. That's why it's so attractive. That's why millions of people read the Bhagavad-Gita and grow spiritually from reading it. So, maybe I'll leave some time. What time is it anyway? 8:23. Okay. Any questions? I saw some plates, so I was thinking I might be ready for prasadam. Any questions? Yes. We have a microphone coming right to you in 2 seconds. 1, 2.
Thank you for the talk. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
You were saying that, in essence, we are full of knowledge, full of bliss,
Eternality, yes.
Yeah. And so I was thinking, if you're chanting this mantra constantly, and if you're doing service, like you were saying, and we're getting rid of all these like conditionings and the dust that we're covering, is it that we become like smarter and full of bliss, like in this world as well as we are performing these activities, this chanting? Yes.
There's a statement in the Vedas, Iha yasya harer dasya karmana manasagira nikila sapyasvasu jiva mukta sushite, that anyone who engages their mind, their body, and their words in the service of Krishna becomes liberated even within this very lifetime. Believe it or not, we can see Krishna in this lifetime. It's possible. And actually it's natural because he's our Father. It's unnatural to not be able to see. But we have these cataracts. So by this service to Krishna, then these cataracts are removed. There's a statement, Premanjana churita bhakti alochanena santak sadaiva hridayesa valokyanti yang syama sundra machincha gunasvarupam govindamari purusam tamaham bhajami. This is Lord Brahma. He says, I worship the primeval Lord Govinda, who is always seen by the devotee whose eyes are anointed with the pope of love. His eyes are anointed with the pope of love. He is always seen in the form of Syama Sundar, situated within his heart. So this is, we want to get rid of the cataracts and have our eyes anointed with the pope of love of Krishna. And it's possible. It's possible.
Thank you.
Man proposes, God disposes. We just have to have that desire. Yeah. As you said, constantly chanting. That's rare. But the more we chant, the more we hear Bhagavad-Gita, the more we hear Srimad Bhagavatam, we read these books, we get purified. We learn more and more about Krishna. Okay, anything else from our esteemed audience here? Okay. Okay, then take prasad. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.